Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I have a book review for the book Never Caught, and this is by Erica Armstrong Dunbar. The actual full title of the book is Never Caught: The Washington's Relentless Pursuit of Their Runaway Slave, Only Judge. What made me pick up this book? I saw this book when I was in Barnes and Noble. It was being featured because it's Black History Month, and it's written by a Black female author, and the subject matter of the book, Only Judge, she is also a Black woman. So Black women writing by black women, why not, feature it in the months of February and March. Before I get into the book review, I just want to point this out. Barnes and Noble had this book listed under historical fiction, which is my favorite genre. So I had, I gravitated towards it. That's what made me pick it up and start reading it. But once I researched the book, this book is actually nonfiction, and in fact, it's a finalist for the National Book Award for Best Nonfiction. So they had the book improperly categorized at Barnes and Noble, but I didn't know until after I read it that it was indeed nonfiction. And that's what made the book so much better. Like, I thought while I was reading, I was like, oh, this was a good historical fiction. I mean, that's my favorite genre. They usually please me. But once I found out that it was nonfiction, it made, me appreciate it. Let me put it that way. Not made the book better, but it made me appreciate it more. It was a good read. It was, if I was on Goodreads, I'd give it like 3.5 out of 5. That's the rating that I would give it. I don't quite know if there was necessarily room for improvement with it being nonfiction. At some point in time, I had to keep pushing forward because it was, it did get a little stale for me, and so I had to push forward, and that's why I would give it a 3.5 rating. So and while we're on that, let's just talk about what I didn't like about the book first. Never Caught. This has got to be the biggest spoiler alert known to mankind as far as book titles go. Like, come on. Like, at one point the story gets so interesting, they get really close to catching her. You don't know what's gonna happen with Only Judge, the runaway slave, and it's just like, it tells her story, and she's on the run, she's on the move, and they get close to catching her, but it's like, well, I know they're not gonna get her because the name of the book is Never Caught. Like, how did that get past the publishers, the editor? Like, throw the whole team away. Like, that's gotta be the biggest turnoff about this book, is that I knew how it was going to end. Like, talk about a spoiler alert. Like, that really made me mad. So that's really what I didn't like about the book most. It kind of upset me and kept my post from jumping through the book. It just really kind of just ruined the whole thing. And I think maybe that's why, like I said a second ago, that it kind of got boring and hard to push through at some point. And it's just like, like one dead area really in the book, but pushing through because it's like, well, I know what's going to happen, so just hurry up and get there. They could have named that book something else, but they did not have to spoil it in the title. What I liked about the book, this book gives me a different, interesting different perspective on slavery from like a New England point of view, if you will. Usually when you hear about slavery stories and slavery books, they typically take place in the South. But this book takes place in New York and Philadelphia and then back and forth to Virginia, but most of it happens in the North. And so with that, the excellent research that the author has done, you get to see, context and the perspective of slavery during that time period as George Washington is becoming the first president, what that looked like from the Northerners' perspective. Did they practice it? Did they implement it? Did they forbid it? How did they address it with the laws? And like I said, you learn so much in this book because she did a ton of research, and the research is spectacular. And so I really like that I learned a lot from this book from the a research perspective. The book does bring you a lot. Another thing that I like about the book is that the author kind of developed, personalities, or gave the reader something to work with as far as interpreting the characters involved, what they might have been feeling or thinking during the time, and setting the scene for that, and leaving you to interpret how emotions might have been going. Of course, it's nonfiction, so we don't know what they were thinking, but her research is so good that you take these letters that were written by different people during this time, and of course it's the president, and the president's home, so he's writing a lot, and she really does a good job of setting family settings, social settings, political settings, and using all of that to say, how would a regular person kind of feel about this set of events, and and during this time. And that was something that I really enjoyed from the book. Again, like I said, I didn't know that the book was nonfiction until the very end. So she did a really good job of, you know, kind of developing those people with a sketch, if you will, kind of developing characters with a sketch and leaving you a little bit to interpret. Another thing I really enjoyed about this book was, you know, the latter, towards the end of the book, you get to see development of George Washington. That when you're taught American history in school, like you learn the founding fathers and they did this and they did that and they signed the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution and kind of these things that you take the 8th grade U.S. history to. And then you go to college and then you learn, you know, especially if you're, you know, black like myself, that you learn like, oh, founding fathers were a bunch of racists and, you know, they did this and, you know, they were hypocrites. All men are created equal while they still held slaves. And fair enough, George Washington is one of those hypocrites. But this book gives me a different perspective on that. No, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but it gives me a different perspective on that. Like I said, again, can't reiterate enough, the author did such a good job researching that I got a pleasant surprise about the Washingtons, you know, towards the end of the book and how they kind of address slavery, and you watch them change and evolve and emotionally deal with slavery. People versus property comes up a lot in this book. People versus property, like that's, I mean, like if I had to give it a theme, that's what it would be. Who this book is for: anybody who loves history like myself, anybody who loves slavery like myself, anybody who loves African American history like myself. But this is also a great teaching tool. Along with the notes section where the author documents, you know, her sources, there also is reading discussion questions prepared at the end. In my opinion, they could be used for anybody from, you know, your standard adult book club to, you know, high schoolers. And so I can definitely see this book, you know, being one in the classroom. So if it's any teachers out there that are watching, Never Caught, this is a good book. Actually, I would say 8th grade and up, you know, depending on the reading level of your 8th graders. But if you're dealing with like a group of advanced reading 8th graders, 8th grade and up, this is a good book that comes with discussion questions. It could be another perspective on slavery and American history, an excellent teaching tool. And so that's all I have for this your book review. If you guys have read this already, please drop a comment below. Let me know your thoughts and let me know what you think of the book. You know, any similar books or any other books that I might enjoy reading, because I did enjoy this one. Drop a comment below and let me know, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.